Yeah, what's up?
And it's basically how do you deal with an avoidant?
I need more specific than that, man. That's very general, very vague. What specific problem are you going through?
It's just it's just basically everything avoidant, like everything an avoidant does. So it's like, I,
So tell me about your situation. What are you experiencing right now?
well, I and this girl, we talking, and we actually got to a point where she figured out she's an avoidant, and before that, I knew she's an avoidant. And with me, it's not like I'm trying to chase. I'm not trying to chase because I'm not trying to be a fool. But again, it's like I'm also letting you know, okay, these are my intentions. And we really get along, but all of a sudden, we get along today, and all of a sudden she ghosts us. And I'm always the one reaching out. And when we reach out, I don't want to bring up that conversation because it's like, oh, I don't want to sound insecure. You get me? So I don't also allow it to affect me. But again, sometimes it comes to my head and I'm like, why are you acting like that? You get me? So yeah, she calls me. When she calls me, it's like, oh, we're just doing our thing. Like we having conversations. Then all of a sudden, we just go do our stuff. We don't talk, but we just being in each other's presence over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, how I feel is like I don't feel that connection, but yeah, you're trying to call me to, just by me being around, but it's like we're not talking. And me personally, I would love to have more conversations with you. And when I give her some "I miss you" stuff like that, she doesn't know how to react.
What does she say when you say that?
She smiles, but she's like she becomes. I don't know. I'm not in her head, but like what I see is like she smiles and she becomes so shy and be like stop. And I'm like, what do you mean stop? She's like, oh, she doesn't know how to react to words like that. You get me?
Gotcha.
So it's like, and what I did recently, I don't want to block her, but I just had to delete her contact. We cool. She doesn't know I deleted her contact, but it's just me not trying to reach out. If she doesn't reach out, fine. You get what I'm trying to say. And I'm not doing this out of control. I'm not doing it with the mindset of, oh, I'm trying to control you or manipulate you to text me. It's just like me trying to protect my own peace. But again, I don't know if that's the right thing to do. That's why I'm asking you, how do you deal with an avoidant?
All right. All right. So when's the last time y'all talked?
That was like yesterday.
Okay. Then you mentioned like her ghosting you? Are you meaning like yesterday she ghosted you because she didn't respond?
Oh, we spoke yesterday, but like I said, we always on the call. But we'll basically be doing our own thing, and we talked. Then she went to clean, I went to cook, and I came. I saw, oh, she wasn't on the call. Maybe her phone died. I don't know, but I called 2 times,
Right.
no response. So it's like, okay, it's basically your attitude. So it's like, you get me?
Okay. How old are you two?
She's 19 and I'm 22.
Oof. All right. Makes things a bit more difficult because she's so young. Okay. How long have y'all been dating?
We ain't dating.
What do you
We
mean?
started talking like February, and there was actually a pause. Like there was actually a pause in March. We didn't speak for like 1 month. Then all of a sudden she reached out and she became really comfortable with me, and that was when we actually, I would say promoted to the next level. But again, it's like there's nothing serious. Like I would say we're casual right now.
Okay. Do you see her in person?
She I used to see her in person until May. She left because we in school and it's summer. So she left to her city, and that's gonna be like 4 months. You get me?
No, I'm not understanding. So are in February, that's when y'all started like having romantic conversations.
Yeah.
Okay. And you haven't seen her in person since
I've
February.
seen her in person but the last time I saw her was May 1st.
Okay.
Like we used to be in person. Like we used to spend a lot of time together.
Okay.
But
So we're
she went back to her city.
okay. So last year, y'all were dating.
Last year, no, we met each other. We met each other last year, but we started talking February of this year.
When you say talking, what do you mean?
Like romantic conversations.
Okay. So last year, y'all did not have romantic conversations.
Yeah, nah.
Okay. And you've not seen her at all this year.
I've seen her this year, but the last time I saw her was May 1st.
Okay. You kept saying May. We're in May right now, so that didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. May 1st of this year.
May 1st of this year, you saw her in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, that was the last day I saw her.
Okay. Was that a date?
No.
What did y'all do?
She was moving to her city, so I spent time with her helping her pack.
Whose idea was that?
She needed my help. She said she needed my help.
Why haven't y'all gone on any dates?
We've gone on dates,
I asked you were y'all dating, man, and you said no.
but we ain't dating. We are not dating. Like
When I say dating, I don't mean relationship. I mean like you're
okay,
going
okay,
on
okay,
dates.
okay.
Like that's how I'm
Okay,
using
so
the
what
word
are you
dating.
talking about?
Okay, so you are dating.
Um, I wouldn't say yes
Why not?
because I would say we like I don't think we even want anything. It's like, oh, one person wanted something, but one person didn't want anything. So it's like
Okay, brother, I'm
you gotta
trying to
proceed.
help you. We got to get the foundation. We got to get on the same page real quick. So
Okay.
when you said you going on dates, that means you're dating. So what dates have you going on? When did you start going out on dates?
We went on a date February. Then the last date we went on was April.
Okay, so you went on a date in February, and last date you went on was April.
Yeah.
What did you do on those two dates?
The first one we went to play a game.
Okay.
It was more physical. Then the second one we went to see the Michael movies together.
Okay. All right. Nice. Um, why so infrequent? Why are we going on like one date per month?
Like I said, we were on breaks. Like we started talking romantically February,
Uh huh.
then March, April. We actually were on like a whole break and stuff like that.
What do you mean a break?
She said she wasn't in the headspace, and I wasn't gonna force her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
When she said she
something
wasn't in
happened.
the when she said she wasn't in the headspace, what happened before that?
What happened before then? What happened before then? I mean, everything was going good until she started her avoidant attitude. And I told her about it because today she'll be all lovey-dovey. The next day she'll be like, and I'm like, what are we? So I kind of feel like, oh, me asking her what are we
Right.
was
Right.
actually
100%. Yes.
pressure on her.
Yes. 100%. Okay.
Give me a minute. Okay, I'm in here. Sorry.
You're good.
Oh,
What is saying fire? I'm gonna mute him for a second until he gets that under control. Unmute yourself, Chief, when you handle that. There's a lot going on right now. It's a lot going on right now. We're gonna get him right though. We're gonna get him right. Isn't looking good though. I'll tell you that. A 19-year-old avoidant, you might as well pack that up. Might as well pack that up. She might be fearful avoidant too. It may not just be avoidant. A metaphor for their dynamic. He's boring. All right, let's be a little kind in the chat. All right, a lot of y'all are boring to me, so let's be a little kind in the chat. All right. What was his question? He wants to learn how to deal with an avoidant. So we're going to let him know that once he puts the fire out. Once he puts the fire out, we'll get him right.
I'm here.
All right, you back?
I've been here. I've been here.
Okay.
Sorry
All
about
right,
that, dude.
you're good, man. No apologies necessary. All right. So you said that she was being like hot and cold.
Yeah, but that was like February.
That was February. Okay. She was being hot and cold. When you said that she was being like hot, what was she doing to make you think that she was like really invested?
Like I said, today she's all lovey-dovey, and the next day she's
Like what
just
is what is she doing that comes across as lovey-dovey?
oh, she just sees me and just kisses me and stuff like that.
Okay.
And you get me?
Okay. And then when she's cold, how is she being cold?
It's just like, oh, she's doing the opposite. Do you understand?
Right. So
Like she's
are y'all sleeping together?
sleeping?
Or having sex?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. When did that start?
That was February.
February. So immediately. Okay. All right. Typical for a 19-year-old. Okay. So you asked, what are we, essentially, right? Like, because you're trying to get clarity because you're like, okay, you're being hot and cold, you're into me, then it's like you're taking a step back, what's going on, right? And that's when she says she's not in the right headspace.
Yep.
Okay, and when she said she's not in the right headspace, that was in March?
That was in February.
That was in February, okay. And
Or
then,
let's say beginning of March.
okay, so then when did she come back?
She came back like April ending.
And when she came back in April, what did she say?
She didn't say anything. What she did was like she did what she would usually never do. And that was like coming over to my place. And I asked her a question. I was like, what changed your mind? Like, what happened? And she was like, oh, the conversation we had on the call, it just changed something in her. It made her like really comfortable. I don't know what was that. You understand? And everything changed. And she started, like, we started again. You understand?
Okay.
So
what's the problem now?
the problem now is like, I don't actually feel like a connection because, she left to her city like May 1st. And me personally, I'm not really good with long distance stuff. And it's not like she's not going to come back. She's going to come back in like August. But again, I don't want to waste my time, I don't want to waste my time with an avoidant, basically. Like, if we can't do this shit long distance, then I don't think we'll be able to do it in person. You understand?
Right. So she came back to you in April.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I would hang it up.
Right?
I would hang it up. Like when you deal with someone who's avoidantly attached, you can really only deal with them if they're high capacity. Meaning, like, yeah, they may create space, they may create a bit of distance, but like they return, right? They return relatively quickly. I mean, after a couple of days, they return. There's ways for you to not trigger them. Like the whole "what are we" is like a triggering conversation, it's an activating conversation. It may make them run, but she seems like she's not someone who will be a permanent fixture in your life. I don't think she has the capacity for it. I think she enjoys you, right? But she doesn't seem like she has the capacity for it. And if they don't have the capacity, there is no strategy that you can implement to change the situation. Does that make sense? So, like, she possibly returned because she knew that she was about to move.
It was what?
She possibly returned because she knew she was about to move.
Okay.
Right? So, like, the move is what makes her feel safe. Because now she can create actual distance, right? There's going to be actual distance between the two of you. She knows that's coming up. That gives her enough, like, peace of mind to actually lean a bit back into the connection again because she knows her immediate out is going to be moving.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think I forgot to say something.
Go ahead.
And there was a time she was like, oh, she doesn't want to see me with another female. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, why are you saying this? So it's like, I don't know. Like I said, she's an avoidant. She doesn't really know how to express how she feels. But there's some certain things she says and she does. You understand me?
When did she tell you that?
She told me this think that was like May 1st, the day she was leaving.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to lose the connection, but she's gonna. She's going to. I mean, this isn't that. I'm not trying to flatter you. You're laughing like this is like boosting your ego a
No,
little bit.
I agree with you.
But
So I'm like, oh,
here's
yeah.
the thing. Here's the thing. That doesn't mean she has capacity.
Mm-hmm.
That just means she doesn't want to lose the connection. But she may not still be able to be in this connection with you for real, right? Like she hasn't displayed anything. Like she doesn't even strike me as like a avoidant for real. She almost gives me like fearful avoidant vibes, or possibly anxiously attached. Like you think that she's an avoidant, but now that I'm thinking about it, she's either fearful avoidant or she's anxiously attached and she is behaving like an avoidant to protect herself. I don't think she's an avoidant because things moved pretty quickly between the two of you. That's more of an anxious attachment move, right? You say y'all started dating in February and she was like hot and cold in February. That is not avoidant. That is likely anxious, trying to stop from getting too close to you to avoid getting hurt. That's what that seems like to me. She's so young that she probably doesn't have enough self-awareness to even know what she is. So she likely is anxiously attached. Her saying she doesn't want to see you with someone else sounds more like an anxiously attached move. Right? So this is someone who is like really into the connection, but is afraid of it simultaneously. Okay? With someone like that, that is what I would call like someone who's in stage 2 of development. With someone like that, again, like I told you earlier, it's really going to be a capacity game. It's okay if they get activated and create distance as long as you can tolerate that, right? If you can tolerate that, it's okay for them to take distance as long as they like return. But they got to return relatively quickly. I say within 3 days. If they're taking longer than 3 days, I would get out of there because they don't have the capacity. Because when they get activated like that, it's going to become a cycle. They're going to keep getting activated. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. Over time, it could improve, but that's going to be some time, right? It's going to keep coming cyclical like that. Meaning they're going to be activated. And if she's already taken a month off of you, then she does not have the capacity she thinks she does. She just doesn't want to lose access to you. I also don't think you can handle it because you're already in a place where you have to delete her contact so you can stop thinking about this shit. If you got to do all that, this ain't the right person for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
If you could like handle that, if you can handle that and like go and do your own thing, and then when she returns, okay, maybe you have the groundedness and the nervous system capacity to handle a connection like this. But if you have to start deleting contacts just because you're so anxious in your own mind of not knowing what's going on, this ain't the proper connection for you. This is a fundamental incompatibility. Okay?
Okay.
All right, brother. Well, hope that helped you, all right?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem, Chief. You take care.
Yes, sir.
A lot more to unpack in his situation. I can only go so deep on these calls. So if you want your 1-hour coaching call, this icon right here, hit that button at the bottom of the screen. Shoot me a message. I'll ask you about your situation. If I can help you, I'll send you a link to book your call. But yeah, once you got to start contorting yourself to maintain the connection, that ain't the connection for you. If you got to delete the contact so you're not so anxious, that ain't the connection for you, right? Like, yeah, you want to do 2 things simultaneously. You want to work on your capacity and start to become more secure yourself so you can actually handle more like ambiguity and things like that. Like a good skill for today's dating is handling ambiguity, right? You want to work on your ability to tolerate that without losing yourself, but simultaneously, you want to be discerning enough to where you choose people who can actually be with you. So you don't want to fight uphill battles, right? Like if you're an anxiously attached person, why get it with an avoidant? You know what I mean? That's the worst person for you to get with. It's going to be an uphill battle. Can it work? Sure, it's possible. But you're playing the game on hard mode. And why would you want to? Why would you want to? Right? Let's get rid of some of these matchmaking people. I can tell. I can look at the phenotype and already tell what time it is. This is not matchmaking, people. This is for questions and answers. This is not matchmaking. You can read the bios and tell, man. These are NPCs. If you have a question pertaining to dating and relationships, request up. I will solve your issue. Mercy, stop requesting. You're not here for the right reasons. Stop requesting. Like, I'll deny them and they'll immediately request again because they're that thirsty. They're that needy for a connection. My husband hit me. Why are you telling me? Call the authorities. Call the police. You're in the wrong place, beloved. You're in the wrong place for that. Well, let me go grab my superhero cape. Where is he? Point him out. Dun 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 dun. I heard you've been hitting women, sir. I'm here to put a stop to that. No, go call 911, not TikTok. You opened your phone up and clicked TikTok instead of 911? What's going on? With an avoidant, hold on, what did Shorty say? With an avoidant, luckily he's changed on his own, but still needed therapy, which he's in now. Okay, I think I missed your first message, Jasmine. So you might have to like retype that or request up. Again, if y'all want, if you have a question or problem pertaining to dating and relationships, request up. I'll solve your issue. You can also drop your question in the chat. Just be advised, callers get first priority and they get better answers. They get better answers. They get better answers. If you want a solution, call in. Stop asking questions in the chat. I can only, my hands are tied when you ask it in the chat. Hello.
Hello.
No home training. You'll be single forever. Turn the music down. You'll be single forever. No home training. Get some home training. Who raised some of y'all? Is what I want to know. Let me talk to your parents. Get them on the line. Huh? Who raised some of you? What is happening? Single forever. That is my judgment on your situation. No one's ever choosing you. Again, if you have a question or problem pertaining to dating and relationships, request up. I will solve your issue. This is not matchmaking. Okay? Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Good, good. What can I do for you?
So, I don't know if it's worth working through, so I'm just trying, I sent a little snippet, but, so my partner of 7 years, just recently cheated, he cheated on me. He had a relationship with this person for like 3 or 4 months, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And because I mean, of course I was, everybody gets caught and I did catch him. And so then he ended it with her.
Mm-hmm.
But I moved out. I just moved out.
Right.
Because it was a lot. It was a lot for me. Mm-hmm. And then we had a really long talk yesterday and he confessed that he made a connection with her, but it wasn't worth it. He didn't see, he weighed out his pros and cons, and he was like, it's not worth ruining the life that we have, I guess, and that we've made together. And he just, he wants a chance to try. Mm-hmm. And I'm having a really hard time working through, I guess, the trust issues, the broken trust, and just all my feelings. Because I gave, I did all the things. I cooked, I tended to him. I mean, anything that he needed, I was there. And I felt the distance in the last few months, but he assured me, of course, that, like they do, that it's my imagination, or I've been busy, or whatever. And so now I don't know, I guess I'm struggling between my heart and my mind.
Right. Okay. You said, are y'all married?
Well, okay, so that's like, there's a whole backstory. Like I'm divorced, but, and I drew up whatever paperwork to get my ex-husband's retirement because he cashed out all of my retirement. So, in order for me to be able to keep that retirement, I cannot get married. So me and my partner currently, we have a house together. It's in both our names. We basically are like married without being married, I guess.
Okay.
In the legal sense.
How long have y'all been together?
7 years.
How did y'all meet?
We both work. We work not together, but like in different. Like I used to work at a campus, and he used to work in a department and for the district.
Okay. And how long ago did you get divorced? Like
9 years ago.
Okay. So 9 years ago, been with this guy for 7 years. This current guy, how long did y'all date before you got into a relationship?
Like a year. It was like 8 months, around 8 months or so.
How long were you married?
I was married for 17 years.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 48.
Okay. Not much time between getting divorced, hopping into this new relationship, right?
No, and it's not that because I rushed into the divorce. It was like a long time coming, and I'd just been putting it off and trying. In that relationship, he was just he's an alcoholic, and he was physically abusive, and the kids were older, and I couldn't shield them the way that I used to when they were little.
Right.
Like there was like a lull, like a lull for a little bit, and then it just started up again. And so then I was just like, no, I'm not gonna, they're older and they're seeing, and I don't want to create another, like, I don't want them to learn these things and take into their relationships or whatever, or that's the way that you should be treated, or that's the way that you should treat a woman or whatever in your relationship. So then I just made the decision to finally just, not stick around for the kids and end it for their sake and mine.
Gotcha. How old were you when you got married?
22.
Okay. All right. And your main issue is you are debating of whether or not you should stay with the guy you're with.
My current
who cheated.
partner, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you like about him?
He's funny, makes me laugh. He normally takes care of me, like with, anything that I need. We have good conversation. We usually would go out and do, stuff together. Mm-hmm. Very family oriented. Doesn't drink at all. Yeah, and I guess I'm just used to, like, our family dynamic. I'm just, it's comfort, because it's just the norm, and it's what I'm normally used to. It's my how do you say, like, my routine, I guess. And like, I don't know, I'm just kind of like, everything's different, and everything's changed, and it just all happened like in one fell swoop, and it's just really hard.
Right. Okay. I think you should leave. That's not because you can't. That's not because people can't come back from infidelity, right? People can come back from infidelity. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't, though. The reason why you shouldn't is because your biggest problem is not that he cheated. Your biggest problem is you don't know who you are outside of a relationship.
Okay.
You got married at 22. You had multiple children. You stayed married to an abusive man until like you couldn't shield the children from it anymore. You divorced him and then very quickly connected with this guy. The speed of which you connected with this guy is the tell. That tells me that you need someone.
Okay.
Being in a relationship for you is a need. Having a man for you is a need. And when you need something, you can't choose it. You can't both need something and choose it. It's one or the other. They contradict, right? So for you to choose something, you must not need it, right?
Okay.
When you're deciding on who to be with, if you're coming from a place of need, it positions you to make bad decisions. Because where there's need, there's urgency.
Right.
So you're forced to make a decision very quickly. And when you're forced to make a decision very quickly, you often make bad decisions.
Okay.
Right? So you ended up choosing someone not because they were so great, not because you had a profound connection, not because you really thought about like, are we compatible? Can we really work together? You chose someone because you had an empty slot and he was the first possible option.
Okay.
That's your core issue. Not that he cheated, but when you come from this place in general, the person that you choose likely is going to hurt you in some way because you're not being thoughtful about the decision.
Right.
So the growth for you is to put yourself in a position where you don't need a romantic connection.
Okay.
And the only way to achieve that is to have some time alone. When you have some time alone, you can learn more about who you are. You can cultivate a more grounded identity, be able to fill up your own tank, meet your own needs. So now when you re-enter the dating landscape, you're not coming from a place of need. You're coming from a place of just genuine desire. That's a healthier orientation. Because when you orient yourself in that way, you can choose someone who's good for you.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem, love. Best of luck to you, okay?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. We could have went a lot deeper on that one, to be honest with you. If you want your 1-hour coaching call, this icon right here, hit that button at the bottom of the screen, shoot me a message. I'll ask you about your situation. If I can help you, I will send you a link to book your call. But yeah, you see how like people, like one thing I like about coaching is people, for you to solve your problem, you first need to know what your problem is. For you to solve your problem, you must first know what your problem is. A problem well defined is half solved. The issue most people have, all these clients I work with, the main issue that they have, they don't know what their real problem is. So whatever solution they come up with is guaranteed to be the wrong solution. Because the solution is identified in part by the problem, right? Once you say, okay, this is my problem, then that leads you to the solution. If you have identified the wrong problem, you're going to naturally get to the wrong solution. So she thinks her problem is, oh, should I stay or should I leave? Her real problem is, no, you needing someone is causing you to choose the wrong people. And that's how you end up in situations where you get cheated on or hurt. Right? So again, if you want your coaching call, shoot me a DM. I'll be in touch. All right. Who we have here? Hello. Okay, she didn't mean to come up. Let's keep it moving. Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm Blessing.
Good. What can I do for you? All right. That's what I needed to hear. I'm glad you said, You just Expose yourself, beloved. When they don't know how to answer, what can I do for you? Get them out of here. Scram. Huh? Scram. What's that? Off my property. You feel me? When they don't know how to answer that question, I already know what time it is. All right. The chat is slow today. Do we got like all bots or are there people here? If there's actual people here, like put a 1 in the chat or some shit real quick. Let me just see who's in the building. Because I'm just seeing a lot of like matchmaking people, but I want to make sure there's real people in here. Okay. All right. There's not a lot of conversation going on in the chat, so I'm just checking real quick. Okay, yeah, it's a lot of bots. It's a lot of bots. All right. Hello.
Hi, can
Yeah,
you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm just looking for your advice. That I'm dating this man who seems to struggle with maybe some depression. Looks like.
Okay.
I've been dating him for about 6 months, and in the last 2 months, he's kind of been off and on. Like he's been like sometimes he's kind of down, and
Okay.
I don't have anybody in my family or friends who've struggled with this, so this is new for me. And recently, well, he was kind of acting like, let's see, he was acting kind of distant with me. And when I started to question him, like, we'll ask him, like, what's going on? Are we doing okay? What's the problem? He told me that he had talked to his therapist, and his therapist told him that he just wasn't used to a healthy relationship. But this is the second time he's told me something like that, and it kind of made me, and maybe this is my insecurity, but it kind of made me think, why would he even be questioning that? Like, maybe he does feel like there's something not right with this relationship. And when I asked him that, and I don't know if I pressed too hard, if it was about me, if he's actually feeling, I don't know, this feeling with me. He just said he actually needed some space, and we didn't talk for maybe 3 days, and he said Happy Mother's Day to me on Sunday, and I asked him how everything was going, and he said his anxiety is just telling him he says that he wants to be in a relationship with me, but that his anxiety is telling him he shouldn't be. And he's just trying to get his head on straight. So I guess, am I being blind, I guess? Maybe I'm not accepting things the way that they are, or should I truly give him some of that space, I guess? Maybe I should trust what he's saying. Okay. I don't know what your perspective is.
Okay. And you say y'all been dating for 6 months?
Yeah.
How did you meet him?
He owns a business. He owns a karaoke business. And he'd seen me there, and he finally said something to me, and we started talking that way.
Okay. So he owns a business, karaoke business, and then he just kind of approached you and y'all started dating from there?
Yeah.
He
was really persistent, really confident, really excited, really fun.
Right.
Just a really good attitude, positive person.
Nice. How old are you two?
I think he's 39, I'm 36.
Okay. Has he been married before? Either of you been married before?
Yes, he has.
Okay. How long ago did he get a divorce?
I think it's been a year and a half.
And how long was the marriage?
He said 15 years.
15 years. And he got divorced a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Do you know why the divorce occurred?
It seems like they were unfaithful to each other.
You know who started that? Who was the first one to sink the other
Well,
person's battleship?
I can only go from what he says. According to him, that was her.
She was unfaithful first. Okay. Yikes. All right. All right. Did he meet you at the karaoke business?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd been just going there singing for fun,
Right.
like for 6 months before that.
Okay. Okay. All right. And you said the last 2 months is when you determined a shift, right?
Yeah.
What was the
Yes.
shift?
Let me remember. He just kind of started being quieter. Let me think. He did tell me that he does go through sometimes bouts of depression that can last weeks or it can last months.
Okay.
So he did tell me that when he was in a really positive place, he
Right.
kind of warned me, but I'm I didn't know really what that meant
Right.
or what he's trying to tell me with that.
Okay. Okay. Did anything significant happen around the time where you noticed the shift?
No, not anything significant. I mean, maybe he told me. Well, I noticed. I mean, he wanted me to sleep over one night, and I just wanted to get a good night's sleep, and so I mean, we'd slept over before, and I just told him that that I didn't want to that night, and he said everything was okay. He's like, "Oh yeah, no, that's fine," and then it just kind of started to slowly go downhill from there. So I don't know if I.
When you say go down from there, do you notice an immediate shift after you turn them down?
No.
Okay. How much of a gap are we talking? Like a day,
Like
week,
3 days.
2 or 3 days?
After.
Okay. All right. Did you see each other in the middle of those 2 or 3 days?
Yes.
Okay. And he was normal?
He was a little bit more mellow, but he was it looked like he was trying to keep a good attitude or good face. I could tell I maybe hurt his feelings. And he told me that's not, well, when he started feeling really down, he said that's not the reason why. He gave me all the assurances that's not why, and that sometimes he doesn't know what triggers it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How frequently do y'all see one another?
We would see each other every single day.
How frequently would you sleep over?
Maybe once or twice a week.
And you normally acquiesce, like you normally agree to sleeping over?
Yes.
And this was the first time you turned him down?
Yeah. It was the first time I just told him I really needed to sleep, and I had some things that next morning. So sometimes we would sleep at his house and sometimes we'd sleep at my house.
Okay.
And
How quickly did y'all start seeing each other every day?
After 2 months of dating,
Okay.
he was really determined to. He wanted to see me.
He was really determined. So was he trying to see you very frequently immediately and you kind of held off, or what happened after the 2-month mark?
Yeah, he would try to see me more frequently. He would ask to come visit me before, and then I would kind of hold it back, and then after we officially became boyfriend and girlfriend, then I would allow him to come take me out for lunch or come see me or visit me at my house.
Right.
Or we'll have a movie night with his kids, and sometimes he'd come over and hang out with me and my son. So yeah, he just made it sure it was at least once a day that we saw each other.
All right. That's a problem.
Okay. Why do you say that? It was too much too fast, or what do you mean?
Yeah, too much too fast. I think you turning him down was the trigger.
Okay.
I think he uses okay. When people move on really quickly, it's often they're using the new person to regulate and to bypass grief.
Okay.
Right? So like they break up, they end a relationship, they end a marriage, they move on very quickly, and then the other person, it's not someone they're really choosing, it's just someone that is just a vessel they're using to distract themselves from any kind of sadness they may be feeling.
Okay, like a rebound.
Yes. That's like the purpose of the rebound, right? It's not, oh, I'm choosing you. It's like, I'm using you.
Yeah.
I'm using you to feel good. Right? And in a situation like this, it's like I'm using you to distract from the sad feelings I have may be associated with my marriage.
I see.
Ending. Okay? So it's always a red flag when people try to move on very quickly, and it's always a red flag when people are trying to see you that frequently, because that's communicating need again. Right? That's communicating need again. All right? Like somebody just said in the chat, because they don't understand what I'm saying. I disagree. I withdraw when I'm feeling down. I've never known why. I just go into a shell. No, he didn't magically. We were dating him for months. He didn't magically just get sad. The timing always matters. Timing matters. That's why I always ask y'all a sequence of events, because I want to see when behavior shifts, that means a variable changed. When people act differently, a variable always changed. There was something, one domino had to knock over the next one. So when I ask what happened around that time, I'm looking for the domino. What was the domino, right? You said that he sees you every day. You sleep over once or twice a week. Him seeing you every day means he needs you. So your presence is regulating for him, right? Your presence is regulating. He's using you for regulation. He's using you to feel good. You're not there. He doesn't feel good. So he wanted you to sleep over. You turned him down. That created a bad feeling. But it's really, I think, what that symbolically represents. Because I think that he was probably anticipating for you to spend the night, because you normally do. And then that gap there, that space, you turning him down, it could have been triggering on multiple levels. It could have been like maybe his wife turned him down when she was cheating.
Yeah.
Maybe she was like, oh, I can't come home today. I got to do this. And that's when he found out she was cheating, right? He may be connecting you, turning him down to that. It could be because he normally defaults to you for regulation. You not being there caused him not to distract himself, which caused his natural baseline to reveal itself, right?
Yeah.
But when people are this like hungry for you, it typically is a red flag, because on some level it is need based, not desire based.
Yeah, he's like has like a void he was trying to fill.
Right.
Or something.
Right.
Okay.
Like I said, you can't simultaneously need someone and choose them. The only people who can choose you, Kim. If I was dating you, I'm like, I want Kim. I can only say I choose you because I don't need you.
Right.
If I need you, I'm not choosing you. I'm defaulting to you because I need someone here.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't want to entertain people who are coming from a place of need, because you never know if somebody can't pay their bills, right? And they need a relationship.
Yep.
They'll get with you, and then maybe they get a bonus at their job. Maybe now they're making more money. Guess what? Now they don't need you no more. And at that moment, that's when they typically magically fall out of love. Because the connection was always predicated upon need.
Okay.
Right?
This helps.
Right. So he just isn't in a position to really be with you. Right? And that's why these data points are so important. This information is so important, because I could have went in another direction. If I didn't know how fast y'all were moving on, I could have said that this connection could work because he's at least being vulnerable with you and communicating. Right? But when I get the full picture,
yep,
this ain't it. This is not it.
But it's not something he's doing like intentionally, it's happening. But still, no matter what, I need to see it as a red flag.
Right. It's a red flag. It's not like he's a bad person.
Yeah.
It's just, it probably isn't the type of connection you want to have.
Right.
He probably doesn't have, a lot of awareness of what's going on himself. A lot of times people like this just don't have a strong sense of self. They are used to, and their identity is like being a husband or being a partner to someone. And they don't know who they are without that. So they very quickly, so like even your presence is like affirming an identity for him. Right? So
yeah, I think in our last now that you're saying that, in our last conversation, I did tell him that I felt like he had tendencies to be kind of a people pleaser, and that scares me because it makes me think of this, it's not honest. Not that they're doing it purposefully or not purposefully, but it is dishonest where I can't trust what's being said. And after that, it looks like he kind of shut down after I said that. And I just thought, okay, this conversation's clearly over.
right.
And I left, but we haven't spoken for a couple of days.
Yeah,
so I need to recognize.
I think that space was very triggering for him, and I think you turning him down revealed to him like that. Oh, you could really hurt him. Oh, she makes me feel this way because she didn't sleep over. Like, what if she does the same thing my wife does? That's probably where his mind drifted to after that. That was the first moment which revealed like how much you could impact him emotionally.
I think you're right. That's one of the things he just recently said, that he was scared of how much he likes being with me. Well, I don't know. But it's what you're saying is resonating with some of the things he said. So thank you for that.
No problem, Kim. Best of luck to you, all right?
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye. All right, people, if you want your 1 hour coaching call, we can go in a lot deeper. That was like, a 10-minute conversation with Kim? A lot more we could have discussed if this was a 1 hour coaching call. So this icon right here, hit that button at the bottom of the screen. Shoot me a message. I'll ask you about your situation. And if I can help you, I'll send you a link where you can book your call. Understand, this is paid, all right? This is not no free, not running a charity here, okay? So if you want my insight and discernment for your situation so you can have clarity, you can stop struggling and not knowing what's going on and wasting months, if not years of your life in a bad connection, go ahead and solve the problem, okay? All right, Robin, what's going on?
My husband doesn't touch me physically, and it's because I'm bigger, and I'm wondering, is there anything I can do about that?
You can lose some weight, right?
Well, I'm trying, but until the weight is gone, is there anything I can do?
Not really. If he is not touching you because you're bigger, then being less big is probably going to solve the problem.
And that's it, I just have to wait until I'm smaller?
Probably.
Okay, that's pretty simple question. Pretty simple then.
All right, Robin, you take care, love.
Okay, bye.
I do think that you have a responsibility to your partner to like look as good as you can. Look as good as you can, right? Both men and women. Like make it easy for them, right? Make it a little bit easier for them. Life is already hard enough. You can at least like keep yourself in an attractive state, right? Long term, that is. She can do other things, make him appreciate her. Bro, looks are, I don't know about that, Isaac. Sometimes people really just look completely different from when you got with them. Some people like only look good to get someone, and then when they get them, they stop putting any effort there. And it's so unfair, right? So unfair, because it's like, what happened? This was not what I signed up for. It's another thing if it's outside of your control, right? Like we're talking about childbirth, understand. We're talking about like some sort of illness or disease, understand. But weight usually is under your control. usually it's under your control, right? So you gotta keep that in mind. It may be hurt your feelings, but it's like that's just the reality. We gotta embrace reality. Okay? All right, Ant, what's going on?
What is up? So
What's happening?
I actually joined your live like a week ago, maybe a little bit more. And I had asked a question then. The like TLDR of that question was I feel like I'm in some ways outpacing my partner. And the short and sweet of the response I got was I'm expecting a partner I want, not necessarily the partner that I have.
I remember your conversation. Yeah.
So I sat with that.
Uh-huh.
And it was kind of uncomfortable, but I initiated like a conversation, like an ongoing discussion with him, and I brought this up in my last like therapy session about like just trying to have a discussion about where I stand before just up and walking away, because I recognize I struggle with this feeling of like abandoning something that I've like built and all of that by making that decision. I know that's a personal thing for like me to work out, but I guess my question is, what would you, I guess, suggest about like the best way to go about that kind of conversation? Like I'm trying to be honest and vulnerable, and I'm trying to be conscious of the fact that I can sometimes mince my words when I'm afraid of saying something that might be like harmful or like hurtful to somebody, and I need to be a bit more straight. But I want to be clear, and I want to be able to get over my own obstacles when it comes to conversation and to give it a fair shot. And I just, in some ways I feel like I know a fair ground to start, and in some ways I feel like I'm kind of shooting in the dark. So yeah, I guess that's my question. I can rephrase it if I remember.
What is your ideal outcome for this conversation?
Okay, so most connections I have had, romantic or platonic, when the hard conversations like this come up, I have an unfortunate history of there being a lot of bridges burned, and some bridges deserve to be burned, and some of them were burned from being reactive or making judgments too quickly. So I guess my goal is to like make sure the conversation remains like a safe space for both parties, like the whole time. And I guess just how to, I guess, be a bit more firm about my, like the boundaries I'm looking for while not being mean. Does that make sense?
But why are you having the conversation to begin with?
So I guess trying to find a way to say, you know, like, so for an example, we are in a position where he has pointed out he is feeling a lack of physical intimacy, and has noticed the fact that I have not been as open to like being close sexually or anything like that. And in other conversations I've expressed like, you know, there are other aspects of intimacy within our relationship that I feel are lacking for me, and therefore I don't want those connections. Like I don't feel the desire to like jump your bones in that way. However, I also have a hard time being direct about like the specific whys, because I don't want to be cruel, you know, like I don't want to be just pointing out somebody's flaws constantly in a conversation.
Remind me again what was missing from this connection.
A lack of direction, I think, is like the most broad way to put it. Like he doesn't necessarily have goals for himself or like a plan of action.
Right.
And
but you've already communicated these things, right?
Yeah.
So why are we
in some ways I'm trying to be more clear.
I don't think that's. I think you don't want to leave this situation.
I'm scared too.
Right.
Like this is just in 3 days we have our like 3-year anniversary, and
this
it
is
feels
just
like
this is just fear talking, but this is still you have a control issue. This is still your attempt to control, for you to build a bear boyfriend. That's what you're trying to do. Don't work like that. Ambition is one of those things, they either got it or they don't. They either have it or they don't, right? So like you're trying to make a guy with no ambition have ambition. If you could do that, you'd be very wealthy. We would just take you, have you talk to every homeless person, right? Every unhoused person who's not on drugs or have mental health issues, right? Every person in poverty, like let's have a talk to Aunt real quick. She knows how to say the right thing to make you get your shit together, right? It don't work that way. People have to be intrinsically motivated for that kind of stuff, right? And you want someone who's intrinsically motivated. Because I'll tell you what happened. Even if that does take effect, he'll just manufacture some goals just to appease you for now so you don't leave. And then once he feels safe in the connection again, guess what disappears? Those goals.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the conclusion I'm coming to. I think what I'm trying to make sure I do now is have like a true discussion rather than like making a decision in my head and then just disappearing. And I feel like that is how I've handled certain things in the past, and it's like resulted in me like not handling conflict the best and just kind of like burning a bridge to be done with it and not deal with it. And I guess that's what I'm trying to make sure I don't do, because I feel like there's no way you can
that's you justifying trying to avoid the thing that you're afraid of doing. You're a smart person. Guess what smart people are really good at? Rationalizing.
Probably too good.
Every smart person I've ever met is incredible at rationalizing, coming up with very compelling reasons to do the shit they want to do. Right? You are avoiding leaving this due to fear, and you're giving yourself very compelling reasons as to why you should keep trying to make it work. You have incompatibility with this person. Right? I very rarely tell people to like flat out leave relationships. I only say that when I know it for certain. You've already shut down intimacy. You know what is missing here? Admiration. You need admiration in order to love someone romantically, especially as a woman. You have to admire the person. You don't admire this person. So you're like, okay, let me turn him into someone I can admire. You're not God, beloved. And even God gives people free will. You're essentially trying to take away his free will. He's using his free will to not be ambitious. And you're like, no, I'm going to make you ambitious.
Well, you have a point. I think a lot of my fear is like rooted in the fact that it feels like I'm abandoning like this life, but that is fear at the root of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the whole question. I always appreciate your feedback.
Absolutely, love. I wish you the best. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You take care. That was a good conversation. All right, people. If you want your 1 hour coaching call, this icon right here, hit that at the bottom of the screen. Appreciate you, Sasha. Hit that at the bottom of the screen. Shoot me a message. I'll ask you about your situation. If I can help you, I will send you a link to book your call. Okay, so you can get clarity. You can finally get an action plan to start solving your issue, and you can know what your issue actually is, because most people do not, right? Look at the caller, our last caller. People are really bad at identifying the actual problem. She thought her problem was she's not a great communicator. So how can I communicate better? Most coaches would have just accepted that premise. They would have said, okay, you say you're not a good communicator. Here's how you can have that conversation. They don't get to the core issue though. So what I have to do, right, is lend you my discernment. I have to say, well, why are we having this conversation in the first place? Oh, you want to get him to change. Oh, you're trying to make him into a different person. Well, if that's what you're trying to do, not going to work. Not going to work. Can't change people. You have to choose people who you're already in alignment with. Okay? You have to have the discernment to know when something is salvageable and when you're just in a bad fit relationship. She was in the latter. All right, Jen, what is going on?
Hi, This is my first time here, so I'm not really sure. I mean, like, I've been listening for the last couple of minutes. But I am, like, in my mid-30s. I've been single for the last 3 years. I've been in only 2 relationships. One was for 15 years. We were married, no kids. And the last one was with my son's father. So I do have a 4-year-old son with him. But I'm just now getting back into like the dating world for like the last year or so, doing like a lot of work on myself. And I'm just finding it really hard to get past like the first or second date. Like I don't know like if I'm doing something wrong, if I'm coming on too strong. I really don't know. Like I'm getting up there in age, and I really want to find my person, and I feel like I'm trying to look in different places, not like just at the bar or like at a club or whatever. I'm trying to do like new things, kind of like outside of my comfort zone. So I'm really like putting myself out there. So I don't really know if there's something different that I can do or improve on. I'm sure I can improve on something. You can always improve on something.
Right.
I just wanted to get like a man's perspective on maybe like what I'm doing or not doing.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Okay. So are you the one cutting things off after the first or second date, or are the guys doing it?
It could be. I've had it both ways, where either it's me, and if it is me, I am a very like blunt person. I usually tell the person like, hey, this is what I've noticed. I don't think it's gonna work out between us. I'm okay with being friends, yada yada yada. So usually if it is me, I'm very like communicative about that. But when it's vice versa, I don't really know like, okay, did you get back with your ex? Did you find someone else? Or are you going through a tough moment? I'm not really sure what the case is, but it's mostly where the other party is like kind of backing up.
Okay. So it's mostly guys cutting things off.
Correct.
Okay. So how many times has this happened since you've been dating actively?
To be honest with you, I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I mean, enough for me to notice.
Give me a rough estimate.
I would say like maybe 3 to 5.
Okay. And where are you meeting these men?
So majority is probably through a dating app.
Okay. All right. And on your profile, it's like it says you're looking for a relationship.
Yes, it says I'm open to long-term friendship. What else is on there? Chatting, but that I'm looking for long-term and possibly marriage.
Okay. All right. And what are these guys saying when they end things with you?
What are they? What? I didn't hear you.
How are they ending things? Like, what are they saying to you?
Well, most of the time it's like I get like a ghosting thing where they don't say anything, and either they completely like just cut off any type of communication, take me off socials, and then sometimes come back like months later, like,
Okay.
hey, what's up? Like, I was going through something. Because that just happened to me recently, where someone was trying to, kind of worm their way back, and I kind of just left it at that because
Right.
I don't really like that. But
Right. Okay. And are they trying to sleep with you?
I would assume. I mean,
You don't, but they aren't actually making a move to.
no.
Okay. So not inviting you back to their place, not trying to go to yours, nothing like that.
No, they usually try to go like on a date, trying to be like out in public, go to a bar or something, play pool, go to the movies, just random stuff.
Okay. And when they're out on a date with you, there's no like, we should go back to my place. There's nothing like that.
That has happened. That has happened before, but I always say no, that I'm not comfortable.
Okay. And that was one of the guys who ghosted?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you have on your page that you have kids or a kid?
I don't make that public.
Okay.
But once we start talking, like on like texting or wherever we're talking, I typically tell them like I have a son.
Gotcha. And that's before the date though, right?
Correct.
Okay. All your pictures are up to date.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. What kind of pictures do you have? Is it all like just chest up pictures or is it body pictures up there?
No, I have everything. I have videos,
Okay.
a full body, face. I try to get different angles on everything.
Okay. Okay. Is this mostly happening after the first date or the second?
Uh, I mean, probably the second.
Okay. All right. So I'm doing like a process of elimination as I'm asking you these questions. So you're ruling out a lot of possibilities. There's
No, I
one.
got you.
There's one big one left. These guys are very attractive, aren't they?
To be honest with you, I like a little bit like ugly guys. Like
You like
I don't-
ugly guys?
I don't know how to explain that. I don't know. I don't feel like my friends. I always ask my friends' opinions. They're always like, "Why do you like ugly men?" And or he looks so grungy. Like I don't like pretty boys or.
Not pretty boys. When I say attractive, I mean like they would clearly do well on a dating app.
I mean, I'm not really sure how to answer that because I've had multiple guys tell me that they don't really get any swipes
Okay.
and that I'm usually like the only attractive women that actually swipe right on them.
Interesting. Okay. So, and the guys telling you this are the same guys who are ghosting you? Or are those the guys you just didn't like?
I think the second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so those don't count. Those don't count.
Okay. Okay.
Most likely, you are your friends, you say your friends are like, why you like, are your friends very pretty?
I would say so, yeah.
I would say so. Every woman says that. Okay, I'm using my own discernment here. You're a pretty girl. Pretty girls tend to have mostly pretty friends, right? So we can make that assumption. Your pretty friends may like pretty boys.
Yeah.
Okay, so they like pretty boys, so they like an archetype that's different from what you like.
Yeah, we definitely have different types.
Okay, how do you describe the aesthetic of the men who you're attracted to?
I would say I like tall. I like I don't know how to describe like grungy, like someone that looks like he works outside. I guess something like that.
A lot of women like men like that. A lot of women do. Tall and looks like he works outside. Yeah, that's like a very masculine aesthetic. So you're selecting for guys who are cleaning up on that app.
You said what?
You're selecting guys who are doing very well on the dating app.
Okay.
So you just have become one of many.
Yeah.
One of many. That's what's happening here.
Okay.
It's not.
I mean, I've thought about that. So I've even tried to get out of like the type that I'm usually attracted to. So I try to swipe on guys that I'm not normally attracted to, and then we start conversating, and it's just like, oh, I just really don't like you.
Right.
And I'm just like, I just don't know what else.
Well, the solution is to get off the dating apps. That's the ultimate solution, right? Because you're selecting the men that other women are also selecting. That's how dating apps work, right? Everyone shoots for the moon. So everyone's trying to get like the top 20% of like women or men, right? So you're selecting the same men that other women are selecting. Therefore, that man is talking to you and probably 10 other women. So really, the reason why he stops talking to you is really logistics. It's because there's so many other women that he's entertaining that you just kind of drop off. And then when those women drop off, they probably circle back to you like, oh, I remember Jen. Let me, he probably looks at like his past matches. Oh, yeah, I never did finish things with her. Let me see what she's up to. Right? So the dating app is the problem. What you're experiencing, you're going to experience more of the same if you stay on the app. So, solutions. I always tell both men and women there's two types of environments. When you meet people organically, there's two types of environments you can do so. Static environments and dynamic environments. Dynamic environments are environments where every time you go there, there are different people. Those are your bars, clubs, brunch. Don't do that. It's not conducive to finding romantic connections because there's always new people when you go. And the people who are in dynamic environments typically just want like short-term connections, okay?
Yeah.
You're not going to find your husband at the club, more than likely, right? Now, static environments are environments where every time you go, the same people are there.
Yeah.
Those are the environments where romantic connections flourish. This is why it was so easy to find a romantic connection in school, because it was a static environment. This is why so many people want to date their coworkers and why historically a lot of marriages happen in the workplace, because it was a static environment. Static environments increase the odds of there's a couple of benefits. They increase the odds of you getting approached, because he may feel shy the first 3 times he sees you, but then the 4th time he sees you, he's like, today's the day, and then he approaches, okay? So it increased the odds you get approached. It gives you more options, because you probably had this experience where you, there was a guy who probably didn't really do it for you aesthetically, but then over time, after you engaged him a bit, you actually started to like him.
Yeah.
That happens in static environments only. It does not happen in dynamic environments. You don't have enough time in dynamic environments. In static environments, you can let the connection breathe and surprise yourself by some connections, right? So there's 2 benefits already. Third benefit, people treat each other better. In a dynamic environment or a dating app, there's no reputation management. Nothing bad happens to me if I ghost you.
Yeah.
In a static environment, everyone knows everyone. So now I have to manage my reputation. I'm more than likely going to treat you better. And better than that, if somebody is a weirdo, because of their reputation, you'll likely get warned about it.
Yeah.
Somebody sees John approach you, right? Maybe you give your number to John. Another girl pulls you to the side. Girl, he talks to everyone in here. He's hit on every. He's
make a
dated.
good point. I didn't really think about it that
way. Right. So look at all those benefits that come from static environments. Now, it's a long-term play. You don't get speed with a static environment, but you do get quality.
Yeah.
On a dating app, you are sacrificing quality for speed.
Yeah.
You get microwavable connections. You get TV dinners. TV dinner dating is what you get.
Oh yeah, that's nasty.
Right? So yeah, you may be able to meet a lot of people through dating apps and have a lot of romantic connections, but it's really a bad thing, because every person you date and it goes poorly, it starts to sour your experience. It starts to become a bit more jaded, a bit more guarded. There's a bit of a cost.
I feel like I'm getting to that point where I'm just like, I'm not really trusting the dating pool, and it's just like I'm kind of getting nowhere, and it's really draining mentally.
Right. So that's the switch that you need to make. Get off the dating apps. The only time I've ever recommended dating apps for anyone, it's mostly guys. It's for guys who only want casual, and I recommend it for guys who have no dating experience, because they can at least start getting some dating experience up there. If you want quality, you are unlikely to find it on an app. Doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means you may have to mentally prepare yourself to date 100 duds before you find your prince.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate that insight. Thank you.
No problem, Jen. You take care. All right, love?
All right, you too.
All right. Miles, we definitely got to clip that. I got to hire me a clipper. I got to clip that one because that was the best explanation of static environments I've given, where I go over the benefits. So we definitely got to clip that. If you want your 1 hour coaching call, This icon right here, hit that button at the bottom of the screen, shoot me a message. I'll ask you about your situation. If I can help you, I'll send you a link to book your call. Okay? If I can help you, I'll send you a link to book your call. This is paid again, all right? Also not cheap, so just be mentally prepared for that. But I will solve your problem. You will get clarity. You will get an action plan on how you can solve your issue. All these callers, we're only hitting surface levels. With each one of these callers, we can go a lot deeper. There's issues that I see that I don't even go into on this live because we'll be here forever, right? So I'll try to give them a little bit, just get them started. But on coaching calls, we go a lot deeper, a lot deeper. You got me for a full hour just on your situation, okay? All right, do we have any other callers? Hello.
How are you doing?
Great, man. How are you?
I've been better. So I've been dating. It's a relatively new relationship, about 4 months. I've been sick. Sorry if I sound like
You're
hoarse. So when we first started dating, she only lived about an hour and a half away, and we saw each other pretty frequently, at least once during the week, and then she would normally come to my house during the weekend and stay with me. And everything was great. She recently moved farther away with her mom, about 3 hours away. And ever since she moved, she's been kind of distant. And I already know that, like, I'm an anxious attachment type of person. I am trying to work on it, and I'm learning that she's an avoidant. And I already know going into a relationship like that is very hard.
Right.
When I try to address it, she tends to shut down, and it kind of created arguments. So for the entire weekend, we've kind of just been arguing about it. And last night we had a breakthrough. I had told her that, because she's not the best at communicating, and she had reposted a TikTok about how she felt slightly taken for granted and her detachment tendencies start happening. So I texted her and I was like, hey, I don't want you feeling taken for granted, but like we need to communicate with each other. And she had said that she loved me and has a lot of love for me, and she's not trying to pull away or avoid me, but she just doesn't know how to fix herself. And I had called her and told her it's not necessarily fixing herself, it's more of just working on it together. And we're not fully back to okay yet. She's coming to see me this weekend, and she had mentioned that she thinks her coming this weekend is going to help reconnect. But I guess I'm just asking, like, how should I go about this?
Okay. How long have y'all been together?
4 months, almost 5. So relatively new.
Okay. How old are you two?
I'm 18, she's 17.
Okay. How did y'all meet?
Online.
Online. Okay. All right. And what is missing from the relationship that's making you feel this way?
Like I said, I'm working on it because I am aware it's very unhealthy. But for me, because with my ex relationship, I got cheated on, and while she was cheating on me, she became distant for like 2 months.
Right.
So once me and my current girlfriend, once I felt that distance over the weekend, I automatically assumed something was wrong with us, and she got defensive because she didn't think anything was wrong with us. She just wanted space, and it just created arguments back and forth.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but when you do have these conversations with her, she's receptive, or if she's not receptive right then, she becomes receptive?
So what I'm learning is the arguments this weekend have been because she wasn't in the right mental space to talk about it. But I'm the type of person to want to fix something right away.
Right.
So not meaning to, I accidentally kept pushing to talk about it.
Right.
So it would make her push herself away from me more.
Right. That's the cycle with anxious and avoidant people, right? It's like the thing that makes you anxious makes her anxious. So like the thing that you feel like would make you feel better is what makes her anxious. So you're like, I don't feel close to you, so I feel anxious. The thing that'll make me feel better is forcing a solution in the conversation. And forcing a conversation is what makes her anxious. So the remedy to your anxiety is the cause of hers. That's why anxious avoidant couples are very hard to deal with. But there is a silver lining here because she doesn't sound extremely avoidant. If she was extremely avoidant, you would have ran her off. So this is actually a workable situation, but it depends entirely upon you.
Correct.
Because the problem is beginning on your end. Not like you're at fault, but more so like you're the first domino. Technically she is because she's creating space, but your inability to tolerate that space is the first domino. So your reaction is the first reaction that causes the anxiety outcome, okay? So, how do you deal with this? I'm gonna give you a Band-Aid solution. I'm gonna give you a few tactics, okay? The first one, whenever you feel anxiety, view it as possession. Okay? View it as possession. You're not you when you feel anxious. Something has come over you, right? So, if you view it as possession, that tells you that if I do anything or say anything while feeling this way, I'm going to it's guaranteed that I do the wrong thing. It's guaranteed that I make things worse. So, never take any action or attempt to communicate when you feel anxiety.
Okay.
You can take action and you can talk when you don't feel that way. So if it's telling you to do something, say, well, okay, I'll do that. It's like text her right now. Because anxious attachment makes everything feel urgent. The urgency is the problem.
Right.
The urgency is the problem because it's not urgent. It just feels urgent, right? So when you tell yourself I'm not going to do it when I feel this way, then you decrease the urgency. You automatically create a gap. And that gap is where you can make a new decision. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So you feel anxiety and you say, okay, I hear what this anxiety is telling me, and I might do that. I might send that text. I might call her, but I'm not doing it until this feeling stops. Now, here's a beautiful thing. When that feeling stops, you may not want to do it anymore. Because the feeling is what was making, the anxiety is what was making you want to do it in the first place. Yeah. So you have to break the loop of feeling anxious and then taking an action and saying something. That's the first loop you have to break. You have to break the loop of when I feel this way, I then take an action. No, I feel this way and then I don't take any action until I don't feel this way anymore. That solves most of your issues. Now, it's a Band-Aid solution. It's not a long-term solution.
Yeah. Because
what you also have to build the capacity for is ambiguity. You have to build the capacity for the fact that if you're going to if you're going to love an avoidantly attached woman, she's going to need her space. That's a feature, not a bug. Meaning it's part of how she's wired. They value their autonomy. So even if nothing's wrong, sometimes they'll take space. So you can't look at space as the connection is threatened. Right? So the reason why a lot of anxious attachers do that is because they make whoever they're romantically involved with their world. So if I'm not connected to her, I don't even know what else I'm going to do. That's the problem. So you have to build a life for yourself. Some of the best advice given to people who have anxious attachment is pretend that you'll never be romantically involved with anyone. Hypothetically, pretend like you'll never have a girlfriend, you'll never have a wife, right? How can you build a life where you'll still be happy?
Mhm.
And then whatever the answer to that question is, go do that. Because when you build that life, when you make those friends, you cultivate those hobbies, right? You build that new identity and the stronger grounded sense of self. You take the pressure off of the romantic connection. You no longer require that to be your everything. And when it's no longer your everything, she feels less pressure. Thus, she feels less of a need to take as much space.
That makes sense.
Her taking space is a reaction to the pressure,
Right.
right? So you have to stop making her your everything and start building a life for yourself. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Those two things, and there's more. We can go a lot deeper on this, right? That's why I do the coaching calls. But though you do those two things, you'll be good.
I guess my follow-up question was, because my initial worry was that she's distancing herself on purpose because of the distance between us physically. And I learned last night that it's just because she has like childhood issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she explained that when she does distance herself, it's because of that, and that's all she knows. So I guess what my question is, because I learned she's not meaning to, is there any way I can help, like remind her or something like that?
No, see, even that question, you're not trying to help her. You're trying to ease your own anxiety. Appreciate you, Guru. So you're like, oh, you're creating distance because of that? Okay, well, how can I help you so you'll stop creating distance because it's making me anxious?
Yeah.
A lot of anxious attachers, it seems like, oh, they're just so lovey-dovey. They're just so helpful. No, it's all about them. They're not doing this because they love you so much. They're doing this because they think this is going to make them stop feeling so anxious. Okay? You have to be okay. If you're going to date, like I said, if you're going to love and avoid it, you have got to be okay with them taking space.
Got it.
This is not your problem to solve. This is you defaulting to caretaking. You're not her caretaker. You're her lover. You're not her caretaker. Okay? So you let her solve her own problems. You're there to support. If she asks you for help, you offer it. Okay? If she asks you for help, you offer it. But you don't need to just voluntarily always try to solve the problem. That is you over functioning in the relationship. Because another thing with anxious attachers is they have this unconscious belief that love has to be earned. That causes two problems. It makes them, one, select the type of people who that's true for. So you end up unconsciously choosing people who you have to win over. And then two, it makes it so you default to this caretaking mode where you're constantly trying to prove your value. If I can prove my value, she'll keep choosing me. If I can show her that she needs me, she'll keep choosing me. It creates a bad dynamic. You have to be mindful of the dynamic that you're creating, because if you keep showing how you can be used, you will be used, right? You'll shift the dynamic to where the person is primarily with you out of utility, not out of desire. Romantically, you want your woman to be with you out of desire. So you need to preserve desire, right? Giving her space helps to preserve desire. It allows her to miss you. It allows her to mentally reach for you. If you're always readily available, if you're always initiating, she never can feel the sensation of missing. You're depriving her of that. That's how she deepens the connection. That's how she becomes deeper invested emotionally. You got to give her a space to feel that. You also have to respect her agency to solve her own problems. Okay?
Got it. And I have been practicing that. Like yesterday, I was letting her have her space, and then I would only respond if she texted me.
There you go.
And that led to us having that conversation where she said that she is not trying to pull away.
Right.
So
beautiful. So you let her feel the sensation of missing you. And let me tell you something, Aiden. Every time you make a different decision like that, you build that muscle.
Right.
So look at it like that. Look at it like, okay, I'm building that muscle. I'm building that muscle. I'm gonna let her have her space. I'm building that muscle. I'm gonna let her initiate sometimes. I'm building that muscle. I feel the urge to like solve this for her, but I'm gonna resist that because I'm building that muscle.
Got it.
Over time, this will solve the problem. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Best luck to you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. That was a good fucking call. Wow. All right. If you want your 1 hour coaching call, the icon right here, hit the button at the bottom of the screen, shoot me a message. I'll ask you about your situation. If I can help you, I will send you a link to book your call. That was a good call, man. Wow. 18-year-old. I love this shit. Because I have these kind of conversations daily, but I always find new ways to explain shit, new analogies, new stories, new tactics. I think that was the best I've addressed anxious attachment so far. So hopefully the rest of you in the chat got value out of that. That was a good one. No more calls, though. Let's end on a high note, shall we? No more calls. If you have questions, you can still drop them in the chat. But no more calls. Because I feel like we'll jinx ourselves, and the next person is like, will be a troll probably. So, yeah, that was good. That was good. All right. We got like 3 clips out of this live. I'm hiring a clipper too. I got to hire a clipper. I don't have the capacity to download these lives and clip them myself. So I need to hire somebody cheap. Look at someone in the Philippines, something like that. Appreciate you, CJ. Look at CJ dropping the coins. CJ drop, Ariana, I'm not hiring you at all. How the tables have turned, Ariana. You're supposed to be hiring me. You're telling me to hire you. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Anyway, yes, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. I'll kick it with y'all a little bit while longer. Ariana, your prices aren't cheap, but I got a feeling you are cheap though. I feel like you don't spend money like that. I can see you right now being a couponer. It's cutting coupons on the living room floor. That was always like a goofy activity to me. I have a family member that does that coupons. Look at how much I saved. That's a silly skill to learn. Because it's like, just learn something that makes you more money. Like, it's easier to make more money than it is to save. Ariana, you're wild. It's easier. Like, I get it. But, like, it's really, you got to kind of think like wealthy people. It's a mentality, man. There's, like, belief systems lower, like people who don't make a lot of money. I know our economy is terrible now, so assume what I'm saying applies more to like when there's more prosperity. Because right now, if you don't have money, it probably is not because of your mentality. It's likely due to the economy. It's just fucked up, right? But outside of that, assuming the economy was healthy, there's like certain beliefs that different socioeconomic classes have, right? So like lower class tends to think they want to look like they have money. And my grandfather used to own like different mobile homes on his property, right? So he would have a house, had a lot of land. He had like 3 mobile homes on his property he would rent out. All of those people who rented those mobile homes had like very nice vehicles. When you saw them leave, it was like they were dressed to the nines. You could see where they were spending their money, right? They wanted to look like they had it, even though they didn't have it. Middle class people tend to focus on like credit and saving. Credit and saving. It's middle class. It's an improvement, but still isn't, right, like wealth. Now, upper class people, they tend to focus on investing. They're only focused on like what their return is, right? So it's like, I would tell my mother, because like she would try to get me like, oh, you should learn how to do like work on the car, right? Like you should learn how to do these works on the car. And I'm like, I don't deny that, but even if I did know, I wouldn't do it, right? Like, even if I would go outside and change my oil, like, I wouldn't do it. She was like, why not? It saves you money. My time is more valuable. How much money I can make by making a TikTok video or a YouTube video? My time is more valuable, right? There's a guy, Naval Ravikant. He says you should give yourself an hourly rate. Ask yourself what your hourly rate is, right? And he says if you can hire someone to do some shit that gets you that hour back and it's under your hourly rate, you should do it every time. So I was like, all right, yeah, I would just hire all that stuff. I get my time back, and my time I can use to make more money. Why would I do this shit? It's gonna take me an hour or two when I can take that same hour, make a video that brings me $1,000. Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. So like couponing, yeah, you save maybe a couple $100, but couponing is a skill. Why don't you take that same time, learn another skill that actually makes you money, and just make more? You come out better on the end. Anyway, that's why I tell y'all, like, to get the coaching call. That's an investment. It's an investment. People think, they look at the price. They're like, oh, I don't want to pay the price. But I'm like, your time is being wasted, though. How much emotional pain have you gone through because you don't know what I know? You don't know what I know, and that is, you're paying what they call the dumb tax. They call it a dumb tax, meaning you are paying in pain, in emotional pain, in emotional suffering, because you don't know some shit. You are missing information, and you're paying in your time. You're paying in your emotional experience. You're paying in your future ability to even connect with someone, because this relationship may close you off to where you can't even connect with the future person, right? So that's called the dumb tax. It's like you're paying for you're suffering from not knowing something. So when you pay for the coaching call, not even just for me, for anyone who offers these type of services who are competent, you're getting all of that time back. You're getting all that emotion back, right? You're being able to experience more positive emotion instead of negative emotion. Money is also a replenishable resource. Your time is not. You don't get your time back. You do not get your time back. For couponers, it's the thrill. Bill Gates is a big couponer. Google all the stories of him in line. That's where discernment comes in uniform. I don't care. Bill Gates is still Bill Gates. He can coupon. You got kids at home, that's probably not going to help you. And if you're doing it for the thrill and you're broke, your priorities are fucked up. Because why are you doing anything for the thrill? How about you take care of your responsibilities? What are we talking about? Anyway. So, I'm doing this for the thrill. Really? Your lights are off. Is that not thrilling enough? Is your service only for men? Because in your bio it says LinkedIn states that it is. No. I only work with women who come through this live. So yeah, women can also book the coaching call. But I'm thinking about just positioning myself as just a dating and relationship coach, period. I don't work with so many women at this point. It's like, does the I only work with men thing still even resonate with me? So those are both men and women. We're figuring it out. Normally they say that's bad for business because you're supposed to have a niche, but doesn't seem to be stopping me. It's like seeing a therapist versus reading a self-help books. Right. That's like people's reason, Sarah, for like not buying courses. They're like, I can research it myself. You're wasting your time. Like, part of the reason why I coach, because I've always hired coaches. Always. If you already know the answer, just give me, here, take the money. Give me the fucking answer so I can save time. Why would I spend 10 hours combing through YouTube to cobble together an answer for myself when I could just pay you and get that answer in an hour? It's bad logic. Unless you really can't swing it financially, in which case I understand. But if you can, it's bad logic, man. People aren't taught these things, right? Like even in school, when it comes to like making money and stuff like that, you're not taught the mindset shit, because in school you're educated in a way that makes you a good employee. You're educated in a way that makes you a good employee. That's the whole purpose of school, is to make you a good employee. Mindsets that lead towards wealth are typically passed down through the family. Appreciate you, Crystal. That's typically passed down through the family, right? It's how you create like the haves and have-nots. It's because that information isn't shared. That shit is a mental game. Say, yeah, the ladies are in there. Yeah, win me over. Y'all disproved a couple of my assumptions I had about working with women. I think you could. But holding that slight hesitance might increase the demand from women. Not really, Isaac. I mean, you're a thoughtful person. I like Isaac's comments because he's always like saying something that is, till he has good observational ability. That is true, but women tend to be more relational. There's a reason why these lives are dominated with women. They want an answer. Women also keep the economy afloat because they spend money, typically. Men don't. Men, it's hard to serve because there's a lot of shame in hiring a coach for this domain, for dating and relationships. They don't want to feel like they had to come to another man to help them. So a lot of guys, what's actually holding them back is not that they can't afford it, it's pride. And then the clients I do help just outdo all the men who are too prideful to ask for help. I know a lot of this shit in part because I got coaching. So you're looking at me, admiring me, but you're afraid to do the thing that I did to get here. Couldn't be me, man. Couldn't be me. I probably spent too much on coaching. I'm like, yo, if you got the answer, bro, how much you charge? Take this bread. Pay for mentors, right? So men just don't care. It's not that they don't care. They do care. But the pattern I've seen with men is they typically wait until there's enough pain. The pain has to overwhelm the pride. The pain has to overwhelm the pride. Once they get to enough pain, that's when they come to me. But if they're coming to me for a relationship, the relationship is normally cooked. Because what got them to that amount of pain is normally shorty leaving. And I'm like, if you just hire... Listen, there's a quote I love. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Preventing your problems is way better than trying to solve them in the first place. Instead of trying to learn how you can get that extra 100 pounds off of you, why not just prevent yourself from gaining that 100 pounds to begin with? Instead of you learning how to heal from like a narcissist or how to deal with a narcissist, why not prevent yourself from ever entering a relationship with a narcissist to begin with? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So it will behoove people to actually come to me earlier, even before they even have an issue, so I can do a little tune-up, right? Do a little tune-up. Make sure you're good. But you have to let people be people. Pain typically motivates people. It's unfortunate, but sometimes it's required. I agree with that statement. I only work with men might make women reach out even more. Yeah, it could, but I think it's like negligible, ultimately. what makes women reach out is this live. This live is my best conversion tool. It's funny because I almost stopped doing this live because it didn't really help my business, but I enjoyed it so much. Now it is the primary conversion mechanism. That's why I need a clipper. Because like I was making videos, like I would tell people stories from the live, but I'm sure it will resonate more if I just actually take the energy from the live and make standalone content out of that. I can tell you love and are passionate about what you do, and that makes for a great coach. Yeah, one of my mentors said like, what you should do for work should feel like play to you, but look like work to other people. That is such a competitive advantage. Like I've had some therapists and people like that ask me like, how do you know so much? You didn't go to school for this. And I'm like, because this is play for me. I enjoy this. The reason why I may be more helpful than some therapists, not all, because there are some great therapists out there. The reason why I could be a lot more helpful than some of them is because some of them got into this profession for economic reasons. They just want to make the money. So they learn what they need to learn. You can tell the difference between someone who is doing something to make the money and someone who's doing it for the love of the game. Like, I used to have a doctor, a functional medicine doctor, and I went to him and I realized, I saw like how more insightful he was, how the quality of the questions he asked me were significantly better than other doctors I went to. And it's because he just loved what he did. Whereas this Nigerian guy, right? His family told him to do it. Or he's doing it just so he can make money. So for him, it's like, I'm going to learn what I need to learn so I can make the money. And then after I make the money, then we are closing the books. And books are closed, right? You can't compete with someone who is motivated by passion. You just can't. You can't. Because you're watching the clock. You're like, when can I stop learning? I'm never looking at the clock because I'm enjoying it so much. That's why a lot of these coaches can't even compete with me on TikTok because they're just making their content and then going on about their day. Because I'm like, why am I the only one on live? Like, there's no other coach up here who does very well on live and organic content. I do both. My content gets a lot of views, but I also do very well on live, right? Most people, it's one or the other. Either they're really good at content and bad at live, or they're really good at live and bad at content. Both, right? Because they're trying to make money. That's their primary motivator. That's why they're not so helpful. They're not really trying to solve the problem. They're trying to solve the problem well enough to get you to pay them. Different motivation. Me, I like being right. I really like being right, and I'm stimulated by big problems. So when I get a juicy problem, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to feel amazing when I solve this one. It's a different thing, man. It's a different thing. Oh. Also, great time to start a business, because when I tell y'all, it's so easy to outcompete people. Like, one, especially if you're yielded to God, that's the first thing. So you stay prayed up. You partner with God in your business or whatever you're doing from a career perspective. Partner with God in it, trust him. Like, you know, Jesus Christ reading the Bible is the best regulating. It's the easiest way to regulate your nervous system that I found. It's prayer and surrendering things to God. And I've tried a lot. Tried a lot of techniques, a lot of tools. I'm like, oh, prayer just is the best way. But when I talk to clients who are Christian, I like doing that because I'm like, okay, I can really be myself with you. So we can really get into it. When I talk to clients who aren't, it's like, okay, I can still help you, but it's going to be from a worldly perspective, which is helpful, but it's not going to be as helpful as like the biblical perspective. That's going to be a lot more helpful for you. I have clients for 1 year and nothing changes with some, but they still pay for therapy because they're probably just there like for the connection, validation, not really trying to change. Some people will leave their therapist if their therapist confronts them too much. They're like, oh, I feel bad. You must be bad at your job. People think bad feelings means something is wrong. That isn't true at all. I'm too attracted to avoidance. I don't know if knowing it won't work out will change it. Yeah, because it's like you have to go deeper than just the intellect. You have to hit the identity. You have to hit like the emotional landscape. Shit has to land. That's what I'm diving deeper into as a coach, because I also learned how to be a better coach. My lesson, like what I'm leaning into more of a coach, is like pacing, letting things land. My brain works so quickly that I just want to I want to give you as much insight as possible, right? What I've had to learn is like, let's pace the insight. Let's help people get there themselves. Let's ask questions that guides them to the conclusion instead of you just saying the conclusion. But always sharpen the saw, right? Always sharpen the saw. Every day, sharpen the saw until you become elite. I totally think when you allow energy to flow in the best way, things go on the right track. I agree with that for sure. I've heard your job should be something you could do for free. That's a great heuristic. If you do it for free, you're probably doing the right thing. If you do it for free, you're probably doing the right thing. As a licensed therapist, I'm curious to hear more about what? I think your comment cut off. I'm scrolling, I don't see you anymore. Okay. The licensed therapist, finish your comment. I just followed the therapist yesterday who was really good. I could tell she's neurodivergent by how she like communicates. I think I said that yesterday to y'all. Her content was good. Cause she even like puts like the books that she reads in like the not the caption, but she edits it into the video. Like she'll make a point and then she'll reference where that point came from. I'm like, I like you. I like you. Yeah, show me the resources. Energy of the work we do transcends the paycheck. Good work is a service to humanity. Right. I will say the biggest thing that I have with like therapy that I don't like. I like therapy. It's not anti-therapy at all. Most of my clients have therapists already. We just solve different problems for them. But I think a blind spot of it as an industry is too predicated on what you know intellectually. I don't know if that's like a problem that actually has a solution, but like I know therapists who don't do the work themselves. And if they're not doing the work themselves, how can they possibly? You cannot help somebody else get past your level of development. Right? So like the onus, I think it should be a higher standard. The same way like if you have a pastor, you got to hold him to a higher standard. It's like Moses didn't get to the promised land, right? Why did Moses not get to the promised land? Because he got mad and hit a rock. Now on the surface, it's like, this motherfucker should have got to the promised land. He didn't do nothing that big a deal. They're doing way worse things than what he's doing. And it's like, yeah, but he was held to a higher standard. He was leading them. Thus, he was held to a higher standard. Right? They can hit the rock. They're like children. Right? You can't hit the rock because you're responsible. Held to a higher standard. Certain domains, the people who are advising got to be held to a higher standard. You can't just intellectually know the answer to this, but then not apply this to your life. I would argue the best therapists also work on themselves tremendously. I have no proof of that, but it makes logical sense. I think the best therapists are their own best clients, right? Or they get therapy as well, right? You know, I mean, a lot of therapists also get therapy, but it's like they take it seriously. They're doing the same tough work they're trying to get you to do. But I know some who don't do the tough work. And I'm like, I doubt you're that helpful. I doubt you're that helpful. Hold on. God is the best business partner, right? I've been in business mode heavy the past few weeks. What do you do, Isaac? I don't know. I didn't know you were a business owner. Leave it at Jesus' feet. As someone who does real estate development, need this, right? You got to, like, you surrender. You surrender it to God, but you also, you got to like read the word too, right? Because it's a living document. A lot of people don't read the Bible. They read devotionals. And I'm like, devotionals can help, but like nothing's going to compare to reading the Bible. Holy Spirit activates and it shows you exactly what you need to know. Okay? So you have to, to hear God's voice, you have to like be familiar with his voice, which comes from reading the word. So you should know, like, biblically speaking, like he makes all things, he uses everything for your good. So if you know that, he uses everything for your good, even if you're in a bad situation or a situation that's causing negative emotion, which is what we call bad situations, right? They cause negative emotions. So because my emotions are negative, this is bad. Really, that may be what you need to do to get you to the place where you need to go. I started this business because I was fired from tech sales. Bad situation, negative emotions, panic, started this business. Best decision ever, right? So you can't lean on your own understanding. You don't know why things are happening. They're probably happening to position you to where you need to be, right? So when you surrender to him, it has to be with an acknowledgement that like you trust in his character. If you have that orientation towards your Heavenly Father, right? That makes everything else go well. Because being able to trust somebody, that means that no other situation moves you, including your relationship. So you can show up better in your relationship because you're not reacting in negative ways. Like the need for control and the need for certainty causes a lot of the problems we have relationally. The need for certainty and the need for control. The two C's. Maz, let's timestamp that. There's something there. The need for certainty and the need for control. Right? So you look at the caller, the 18-year-old guy, the anxious attached person. He needs both of those, which is causing his issue. If he were to let go of both of those things, be okay with not having certainty, know that time will reveal all, and be okay with the ambiguity, he would not be struggling as much and things will work out better. But I think that positioning is downstream from having vertical alignment. You putting your trust in the only source that is trustworthy. My therapist told me to leave this man for 2 weeks. I left her. So she told you to leave, buddy, and you left her instead. And now you went back to her. That's hilarious. I've heard this perspective where attachment styles have a spiritual influence. What's your thoughts? There might be something there, Gigi. I never thought about that before. But I do think that everything in this physical dimension has a spiritual component. For sure. But I'll think about that more because that's a good question. Do you feel that so many books were left out of the Bible? That doesn't really bother me. Right? That doesn't really bother me. Because it's like, just from a first principle perspective, if the Bible is God's word and it's the tool for our salvation, do you think he would allow that to happen? Like, do you think that will be something that's even possible to happen? You know? Look at Jonah and the whale. Jonah was trying to like deny his calling and do what God told him to do. So he tried to flee. When he tried to flee, he got swallowed up by a whale. And then when that whale spit him out, he was at the place God wanted him to be. So you think that creator who created that story is like, oh, you want to take stuff out of my book to hurt the people who I wrote this book for, or who I inspired this book to be written for? I don't think so. I think we're thinking like too like worldly from that perspective. This is why like the religious conversation is so hard, because like Christianity and belief in God, it's a subjective experience. And the way the Holy Spirit works is it opens your eyes to like the spiritual reality, right? So like the spiritual truths. The intellect is a separate thing. You can be highly intelligent and still miss the point biblically, because the intellect isn't what is making sense of it. So you have like biblical scholars who can tell you all about the Bible, but they miss the spirit of it. They miss the point. They don't have eyes to see or ears to hear, right? It's like the Pharisees. Pharisees missed the point. But they were the spiritual leaders of that time. Yeah, the 18-year-old dude, he's going to be good. Especially if he applies what I just said, what I told him earlier, he's going to be great. Because to attempt to solve that type of problem at 18, yeah. There are people who are doing the exact same thing he's doing right now, and they're 50. And they ain't ask nobody for help. They just blowing somebody's phone up right now. That's somebody's life right now. Blowing up somebody's phone and not answering this. Fuck! And they're punching the wall. And he's 18, already being more mature. I love that. You add a spiritual component to attachment styles, people will be even more unaccountable. I don't know. I don't think adding a spiritual element makes people lack accountability. I think some take accountability, some don't. But I'm sure there's a spiritual component to it, for sure. For sure. And I'm starting to get a hypothesis. I think attachment styles can relate to God. You could possibly be anxiously attached to God. You could possibly be avoidantly attached to God. I think your orientation to God impacts your orientation to everyone. I have to think about that more. Yeah, I have to think about that more. I'm sure there's some truth there. Wish I had his mindset at that age, right? I mean, sometimes you just didn't have the tools, man. You didn't have me to talk to you, CJ, at that age. You didn't have me at that age to talk to. That's another thing that can inform like business or career is, I've heard people say, make your mess your message, right? So like help a previous version of you. Help a previous version of you. Who would younger you need? And then be that for other people, right? Younger me needed me. So now I play that role for other people. Because where I'm at now, from a development standpoint, relationally, like even as of late, I've surprised myself. Like I've recently learned how much my capacity has improved. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I'm like, oh, I'm really different now. Like, very different. So the work has paid off a lot. And now I'm seeing what's possible. So it's like, first I was like, what I'm trying to obtain, I've not seen an example of. Y'all remember when I talked to y'all about differentiation? Who here remembers that? If not, I'll go into it again. That's the goal, though. Differentiation. Let me know in the chat if you know what I'm talking about or if you don't, and I'll go into it. But it's very helpful. Okay. Differentiation is the goal you should be striving for relationally. It's the goal you should be striving for relationally. And it's really a dichotomy to be managed. It's a tension, okay? It's a tension that you have to tolerate. Differentiation, being differentiated means you can simultaneously be connected to your romantic partner, right? The person you're dealing with, your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, person you're dating, right? You can be connected to them and impacted by them. They can move you emotionally. And simultaneously, you can stay grounded in yourself. Very hard to do. People they default to one or two paths. All right, remember, to be differentiated, it's a spectrum of two extremes. You're in the middle. When you're in the middle, you're differentiated. On one side of it's not detachment, CJ. It's not detachment at all. Because you're connected, so you're not detached. You're still attached. It's a different thing. On one end of the spectrum, there is being enmeshed, meaning like that's like anxious attachment. That's like you trying to merge with your partner. You being codependent. They're impacting you too much. You're changing who you are to appease them, right? On the other end of the spectrum, it is avoiding, like taking too much, like being too independent. You're no longer connected to the person. Think about like being in like the ocean. Being differentiated is you feeling the water but not being carried away by the waves. Some people are being consumed by the waves. Other people don't even get in the ocean. You're in the ocean, you're feeling the water, but you're not being carried away by the waves. That's being differentiated. Hard. Not easy. Not easy. You have to have a good degree of capacity. It's only even possible at stage 3. And if you're able to do it, you're approaching stage 4. So when I learned about this concept, I was like, I don't know anyone who's able to do that. I've never seen that before. What does that look like? I'm like, I've never seen that before. What does that look like? Then I came to the conclusion that God is like that. God is differentiated. God has boundaries. Look at Jesus' story. He's differentiated. He was connected to everyone, emotionally moved by them. Jesus wept. But I'm still son of God though, right? Like I'm still him for real. I'm still about these truths. I'm still standing 10 toes down. You're not moving me. I'm not going nowhere. I'm still here to accomplish what I came to accomplish. That's being differentiated. If you can find someone like that, you've struck gold. That's a rare person. Stage 4, I would say, is someone who's differentiated. I'm at a place where I have to try. Where I'm getting to is like I can achieve that when I have to try though. I'm trying to get to a place where I don't really try that much. It's more unconscious. That's stage 4. But I've realized lately that like I'm much better at that than I've been in the past. I'm not very reactive like I used to be. I truly respond instead of react. Doesn't mean you're going to do it perfectly, right? Because growth isn't linear. But I did want to articulate the goal so y'all can see where you're headed. That's where you want to get to. How can you be like that? How can you hold your boundaries, still be grounded in your sense of self, and still connected to the person simultaneously? The feelings come up, but I don't react. That's been the biggest hurdle for me. Right. You feel everything deeply, but you don't react to it. You respond. You ask yourself, a great question to ask yourself is like, what's needed here? What's needed right now? If you have like a moment of conflict or something like that, what's needed here? Not what does my emotions tell me to do? Not me defaulting to being defensive, right? What's needed? So it's like, that's a great place to be. When you come to that place, that's when you can really love somebody properly. And that's when your love is now a healing energy, because they haven't felt that nervous system. They've not felt what it feels like to deal with someone like that, to be in conflict with someone like that. So it's a new experience for them, because they'll likely be used to people either reacting or shutting down. One of the two. Either reacting emotionally or just completely shutting down. But it's like, that's when, if like you're stage 3, you're dating someone who's like stage 2 maybe, they can come up now. Because now you're giving them such a safe space. They feel enough safety with you from like a nervous system perspective. Like, one of the most attractive qualities for men is being calm under pressure, cool under pressure. But cool under pressure means that your nervous system is grounded. The state of your nervous system can spread. Think about this. You're on a plane. Somebody with like an old person sees a person with like a contraption or like an iPad. And they yell, "Bomb! He's got a bomb!" Right? Their spike of anxiety calls them to yell bomb. That anxiety now spreads. Right? Everybody activated. Then the air marshal comes up. "Hey everybody, okay, listen. I hear everybody's freaking out, but listen, I took a look at it. It wasn't a bomb. It was just an iPad. This old kook right here is just nervous for their first flight. Isn't that right, man?" His nervous system is calm. The calmness of his nervous system is now spreading. Now everybody can relax a little bit. So as a man, you have to understand and take on the responsibility that women have a different experience of reality than you do. They have a bit higher levels of anxiety because they're the weaker sex, right? Just physically. So they have to consciously think about like survival. Plus, the feminine takes in more data than the masculine does. So they're kind of on edge a little bit sometimes. They're naturally going to be a bit more anxious than you. But part of being a masculine container is having a grounded nervous system. That's a gift that you can give to her. Because when she's activated, your presence can be a calming source. Right? That's not to say that women can't do this as well. Obviously they can. But generally speaking, this is going to be the role of the man. That's why we got to go in the kitchen and kill the bugs. Right. Go in the kitchen and kill the bugs. So it's like your nervous system. But that's not what a lot of guys do now. It's like the woman will be anxious and then they just take on that anxiety. Now y'all both anxious. Now y'all both are dysregulated. You need to have like a grounded presence in the dynamic. One of you has to be grounded so that it helps the other person become grounded. Normally, that's going to be the masculine. Normally, that's the masculine role. And if you need help with that, get your 1-hour coaching call. This icon right here, hit that button at the bottom of the screen, shoot me a message. I'll ask you about your situation. And if I can help you, I will send you a link to book your call. Okay. If I can help you, I will send you a link to book your call. This for both men and women, right? But that nervous system thing is going to be incredibly important. It's going to be incredibly important. There's so much. I can go way deeper into this shit, man. I told y'all there's a lot that I can share with you. I wait for y'all to ask the questions. And if nobody asks the questions, then I just keep shit to myself. How to deal with a man that shuts down when there's an issue? More than likely, you are trying to solve the issue as it occurs, because the issue not having a solution or clarity probably makes you anxious. If he shuts down, then it's likely that he's avoidant or has some degree of avoidance in his attachment style. The magical thing that you can say to avoidantly attached people is, like, you just give them time for them to return to the connection and talk about the issue. So, hey, I noticed this. We'll have a conversation about it, but, you know, no rush. Just let me know when you're free so we can discuss. That no rush is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Because when you brought up the issue, when you just mentioned it, their anxiety started to crawl up. And then you said, no rush, just let me know when you're free. Now it goes down a little bit. So, she's not pressuring me to talk about this right now. So I can kind of like mentally prepare myself for this conversation instead of feeling like you just jumped on me. What are some essential questions that should be asked while dating? I mean, typical like compatibility questions after y'all have already established that y'all have chemistry, right? I like to have like a general idea of their relationship history, like especially the last person they were with. Gives me a good read on like how likely this will work. You also want to see if they just blame everything on their previous partners or if they take any accountability. If they're blaming everything, that's normally not a good sign. It's normally not a good sign because none of us are angels and none of us are perfect. I immediately raised an eyebrow when every man you dated was Mr. Evil. Dr. Evil. What about after you say no rush and you wait, but they don't have the intention to go deal with it? Well, then you're probably dating someone who has a capacity issue. And if they have a capacity issue, then you're probably with the wrong person. You cannot make things work with a person with low capacity, regardless of their attachment style, anxious or avoidant. That's why I just made a video that's performing very well a couple of days ago about capacity. Go watch that on my page. Capacity is very important. There's 3 like levels of capacity: low capacity, moderate capacity, high capacity. High capacity person. Now, before I even get to that, there's 2 ways that you can determine somebody's capacity: intimacy and conflict. Intimacy and conflict. Intimacy and conflict. You getting closer to them and the connection being more serious and vulnerable, and conflict, right? There being some friction to the connection. Women tend to be tested through intimacy. Men tend to be tested through conflict, generally speaking. You can test a woman's capacity by just getting closer to her, because the women with low capacities run and they stay going. With men, a lot of men want things to be easygoing. So you test his capacity with conflict or friction. And he's like, well, this isn't smooth sailing anymore, so I'm out, right? 3 levels of capacity: low, moderate, high. Someone with high capacity, regardless of attachment style, can stay engaged with you even as intimacy increases or conflict increases. So y'all can be having like conflict, not a full blown like argument, but just conflict, and they can stay engaged, right? They're not comfortable, but they can stay engaged. Someone with high capacity, when it comes to intimacy, they can stay engaged as you get closer. not feel the need to run. Someone with moderate capacity will react. They'll need to regulate. Anxious or avoidant, if intimacy increases or conflict shows its head, a lot of times they'll create distance. They're creating distance so that they can regulate. But within 24 to 72 hours, they'll return. With moderate capacity, there's a willingness to repair. They just need a little time first. That's workable. You can work with that because their capacity can increase over time as you build more safety in the connection, right? Low capacity person, automatically eliminate. Those are people who leave when there's intimacy or friction introduced into the dynamic. They leave and stay gone, or they return, but they're never the same. They never get back to baseline, right? Or they take a long time to come back, like a week plus. Low capacity, eliminate. High capacity is ideal. Moderate capacity is workable. Low capacity, get the fuck out of here. And that's more helpful than like saying I'm not going to date an avoidant or I'm not dating an anxious. That heuristic I just gave y'all, capacity, is a better heuristic, a better tool to vet than saying I'm not dating 30% of the population. If you say I'm not dating no avoidance, you're probably not going to date at all. That's most of the dating pool. I want someone secure. They're taken. They're taken already. I'm sorry. They're already married or in relationships for the most part. So they cheat during ghosting. What about that? What do you leave? If someone's cheating on you, leave them. Is there ways to artificially create friction? You don't need to create friction. What you need to do is just be authentic and have boundaries. I was talking to a woman who was dating a guy for 7 months. She was a client of mine. Dated a guy for 7 months, and she would sweep everything under the rug. She would sweep anything she had a problem with. She was sweeping it under the rug. Then she went over his house and saw evidence of other women being there, and she got mad. And he told her, like, no, you're just reading into it, like, there has been other women over here, I promise you. And then he ended things with her the next day. And I told her it's because from his perspective, you did a 180. You was Miss Cool Woman the whole time. He probably thought he had the jackpot with you because there was never any problems with you. You were always just cool. Why can't all women be like that? Just chill, cool, right? That's how he was thinking. And then the real you came out. You had a problem with something. There was a bit of friction. Now he's like, I'm actually not ready for a relationship. She could have found out that same information month 2 when she brought up an actual issue that she had. But she didn't want to bring up any issues. She was afraid of him leaving. You can't wear that mask forever. It's best to know sooner than later. Situationships have a lot to do with capacity too. Right. It's either capacity with situationships or someone who just only sees you as a vehicle for sex. Or you're useful in some other way. That 2 to 3 month trial run the women give you before the mask slips. I don't think that's like gender specific, CJ. I think it's like for both men and women, but I'm with you. That's why people, like they say, you got to give the connection like 3 months. It's hard to pretend after 3 months. After 3 months, you're going to see. You're going to see. For sure. So I've recently been with someone that was all in love, talking about the future, controlling. I fell for it. Yikes. How was he controlling? Recently found out he was seeing his ex all the time. Sorry to hear that. It's making you think about what, Gigi? You reflecting on like past relationships or past people you dated? What does it mean when men look but they don't approach? They could be in relationships, they could be attracted to you, but just afraid to approach or just don't want to approach, just admiring you. You can also, like, you can admire someone without, like, oh, that person's attractive, but not want to deal with them at all. He didn't want me to go out. We used to talk all the time. I don't understand. I was helping him building his house. How long did y'all date, Jalencia? How long did y'all date for? Would love to know the answer to that question. Y'all were in a relationship for 2 years, or just like seeing each other for 2 years? Both, but mainly how to be fully aligned with myself. Yes, going up the stages, Gigi. But he lives in New York and I live in... You live in Africa? That was your first mistake. Different continents? Whoa. South America? Geography is I'm almost like remedial with geography. But he visits 3 times a year. That's not a relationship, love. Seeing someone 3 times a year is not a relationship. You can have a relationship with someone anywhere on the planet if you want, as long as you can handle the logistics. If you want to date someone in Antarctica and you can get to Antarctica at least once every other month or some shit like that, you can make it work. When I found out he was with his ex, he broke all his windows. All right, well, you got some issues, love. How did you break his windows if they're long distance? Did you fly? Did you go find your passport and then get on a plane and then maintain the anger for the whole flight? You know how mad you got to be? Having a long 8-hour flight, I'm going to hold on to this anger till I get there. He's building a house here. Well, chat, what stage is Jalencia in? What stage would y'all put her at? What stage is she? Right, she staged it. This is not about your zodiac sign, love. That ain't got nothing to do with it. This is stage 1. Stage 1 is reactive. Stage 1 is reactive. This is why I say, do not entertain stage 1. Let people get to stage 2. Stage 2 is workable. Stage 1 is not workable. Like, because look at even how she's writing in the chat. She's not listening. She's just writing shit because she's just consumed by what she wants to talk about. See that? See how stage 1 works? This is fascinating stuff. This is stage 1. No, I'm not taking her on a call. I don't need to. I'm not taking any more calls. She's mad just writing. Right. She's trying to regulate. She doesn't want answers. She's trying to regulate. So you see how stages work. Don't do stage 1. Don't entertain stage 1. That's a stage 1 man or a stage 1 woman. Just don't save yourself the headache. Don't do it. Let them get to at least stage 2. Then you can, all right? Then you can do that. Now, she's in a bad situation. That's unfortunate. But because she's stage 1, there's no vetting. There's just emotion and chemistry and vibes. Right? Now, this experience may get her to stage 2 because it's pain. It's painful. She asks a very important question. Why? Right? That's her reflecting. Okay, she might be transitioning to stage 2. Still stage 1. But she might be transitioning to stage 2. Can you give another example of low capacity? What other example do you need? It's like they either run or and stay going, or they stay going for a long time and return, right? Or they return and they are never like quite the same. Something's just always off. You try to get them on a date and they're always having an excuse. So you can tell they're still creating distance. Would you consider doing a panel, open dialogue with the mods, touching on different stages and frameworks? I'm sure. The mods want to do that. You think that'd be more valuable than what I'm already doing? I got to cool out with the frameworks. I didn't create too many frameworks. Now it's getting crazy now. I had someone say sometimes I might go silent for a few days, but I always come back. That's moderate. You can work with that. You can work with that. That's what I look for. You can work with that. If they come back, again, it's that 24 to 72 hour window. If they come back, that they regulate it, now they can re-enter the connection. That's fine. That's workable. And that can improve over time. But it's that low capacity that does not work. I've experienced everything. High capacity, moderate, low. You not doing nothing with that low capacity. You ain't nothing you can do. They are going to stay going. Or shit's going to forever be weird after that. Not necessarily more valuable, more so about different perspectives. But you want me to talk to Danny, huh, Jessica? You want Danny up here. Because I'm like, you know who the mods are? No disrespect to the mods. But it's like, they don't do this. Danny does this. So it's like, with Danny, it's like, okay, he can hit something from like a different perspective. And he has his own frameworks he's cultivating, right? Eric, I've been had mods, love. I think you've been going for a while, huh? I got like 9. I think. Is low capacity borderline avoidant? You can have low capacity and be any attachment style. Or insecure attachment style. Secure, you're going to be high capacity by default. But fearful avoidant, dismissive avoidant, and anxious preoccupied, they can have low to high capacity. Remember, the attachment style is telling you the behavior. It doesn't tell you the degree to which the behavior will be implemented. So avoidance needs space. Deactivating strategies. You know about that, right? But if they have high capacity, they can still be in the connection. They just have that tendency, right? They can even 10 miles would be sweet. We don't need any more mods right now. Plus, it's a high standard for mods, man. Like, and when I first created mods, it was more so like whoever asked. Now it's you got to be vetted. One, you got to be here a lot. That's the first thing. So if you're not here daily, or at least on one of the lives, like, it's no point. What's the first step with detachment? You have to just remove that person from your life and any evidence of them. So delete the text chains, delete the photos, if you have any, from considering how infrequently y'all saw one another. Don't call them, don't follow them on social media, remove them completely from your life. It's gonna be hard for you because you're stage 1. So you're programmed to just do shit that you feel like doing. I miss him. Now I'm gonna stalk his Instagram. That's stage 1 behavior, right? Stage 2 can question that impulse and decide whether or not to do it. Stage 3 is unlikely to do it in the first place because they know it's unhealthy. We definitely gonna have CJ come up on the panel, given his consistent audio issues. Same thing with Eva. All right, people, last minute questions. I've been here for a long time. Last minute questions before I get going. I've been here longer today because I only have one call today scheduled. Speaking of calls, if you want your 1 hour coaching call, this icon right here, hit that at the bottom of the screen. shoot me a message. I'll ask you about your situation. If I can help you, I'll send you a link to book your call. Okay? Jalencia, you could get coaching, love. Books ain't gonna do it. It's best for you to have some sort of container. What's the best way to read the Bible? I've always heard people say start with the Gospels so you can learn about Jesus first. It's a good start. And then it's like whatever like I would pray on what to read, and then whatever intuitively stands out to you, do it. I find that like there was a good YouTube video I saw. It was talking about like the different ways of hearing from God. Any Christian can hear it from God in all of these ways, but there are a couple of distinct ways that you may be like more naturally hear from him. So the first one is through like feeling. So you feel a certain way, right? A lot of people say they're empaths. It's like that may be the way that he talks to them. The other way is through hearing. So some people hear an audible voice in their head that they associate with God. The other way is seeing. So like through like visions and dreams. And the last way is how I hear from him. And that's through like just knowing. I just know. I'll just know things. Can't tell you how I know them. I think that's what makes me a good coach. I just know things. I'm like, I just know this is true for some reason. And when you have that awareness, you can lean into your way of hearing from him. So like now I kind of follow that knowing now a bit more. But no visions for me. I don't get visions. I probably have before, but typically no. Hearing, that's probably my secondary function. Feeling, not at all. Not at all. But that knowing and the occasional hearing, I'll do. All right, no more questions? Cool. All right, people, if you're new here, make sure to follow. I go live multiple times a day. I'll be live again at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if I didn't get to your question this afternoon, I will get to it tonight. Again, you want your 1 hour coaching call. You hit this button, this icon right here. There's a button like that at the bottom of the screen. Hit that, shoot me a message. I'll ask you about your situation. If I can help you, I will send you a link to book your call. This is paid, okay? Appreciate the mods, appreciate the chat. I will see you all later tonight. Y'all take care.